What a beautiful Saturday midday, almost 1 o'clock, December 8th, 2023. I'm at Matheson Hammock Park and Marina. It's a marina and a boat ramp. This is where I launch my boat probably 80% of the time. Those are the boat ramps over that way. This bridge has been under construction for months, and they have this temporary signal for people to alternate crossing, but for some reason it doesn't detect the motorcycle and it won't change. I have to take the light very carefully, of course. In the summertime this gets totally filled up with trucks with trailers attached. And if you don't get here by 8:30 in the morning on a nice weather weekend in the summer, late spring and summer, you don't get in because this fills up and they close it. Somebody getting ready to launch. These are mangroves on the left and right, mangrove trees. They're one of the few trees, maybe the only trees, that can live fully with their roots fully covered all the time in salt water. They provide a nursery area for baby fish that are born in the bay or in the mangroves until they're big enough to get to the deeper water of the bay and then later the open ocean. Biscayne Bay is just to the left, and that's where the boats are. And about 8 miles further east is the Atlantic Ocean. With the shade you can really feel the temperature drop. Sometimes the tide is so high here that it covers the road. and that's obviously salt water. So I'm always cautious about not coming in here when there's been a super high tide. They sometimes call them king tides. Obviously it'll corrode the hell out of any vehicle that comes in here. This area here on the left is a pretty popular place for windsurfers or kiteboarders. And well, today's not that windy of a day, so I don't think there's anyone out. But I believe there was a guy killed here a few years back, getting ready to take off, and a big gust of wind came, picked up his kite, and hurled him about 60 feet into the air. He lost control and came down onto the concrete and died. Pretty sad. So that's Biscayne Boulevard, sorry, Biscayne Bay to the right. And those are very expensive houses all along the waterfront of South Florida. I don't know how well it's going to come out in the distance, but the taller buildings are downtown Miami, and then going to the right, that's Miami Beach, the southern part of Miami Beach. And going further to the right, which is towards the south, that's the village of Key Biscayne. It's the first of the Florida Keys. And this, of course, is Biscayne Bay, and straight out that way is the Atlantic Ocean. 55 miles to the east is Bimini, Bahamas, which I've been to many times on my boat. There's a restaurant. I don't know if it's still called the Redfish Grill, but there have been a few restaurants here and there. I don't think it's even open. But nothing ever seems to last very long. There's an enclosed beach here called Noma Beach, where it's like a lagoon that's a circle, and there are culverts with gates that allow the tides to come in and out, but no large fish, particularly sharks, are able to get in there. So I've never actually been inside that beach. When you have a boat, you get kind of spoiled, and even though I live down here and have for many years, we don't really go to the beach that often. Much prefer going out on the boat. Although it can be a hassle with the traffic and the trailering and the big production of getting the boat launched and out. And we don't use the boat all that much in the wintertime, although we can. The weather's still perfectly fine. But for me, the boating season is about mid-April, late April to end of September, maybe into the first couple weeks of October. And now we're in December 9th, I think, Saturday. There's crocodiles here. I've seen them here and at another marina that I launch at sometimes called Black Point Marina. These are not the same crocodiles as Nile crocodiles from Africa or the Australian saltwater crocodiles. The American crocodile is distinctly different from the American alligator, and it tolerates and actually kind of prefers brackish or salt water, whereas alligators don't really like salt water or brackish water. So the two species don't very often intermingle as far as habitat. And American crocodiles are far more docile and fearful of people than either Australian saltwater crocodiles or the Nile crocodile. They will take dogs. Both alligators and crocodiles have killed plenty of dogs, and occasionally a few people. But the people killed are probably more likely, most of the time, not that it happens much, alligators, because they're far more numerous and much, probably a lot more potentially aggressive than crocodiles. I'll have to look that up and see if an American crocodile has ever killed someone in Florida. I know for sure gators have, but it's not a common occurrence, just like shark attacks. of times brides will come here for wedding pictures because of the setting. So this is Old Cutler Road. It runs along the coast of Biscayne Bay, from about downtown Miami all the way down to, I guess all the way down to almost the beginning of the Keys. It's a very scenic road, very expensive houses on either side. And what's nice about it for motorcycling is that there's a little bit of curves. I mean, we don't get any twisties here, but it's one of the few roads that's not just dead straight. And there's also a lot of sections with a shaded canopy covering it, so it's more tolerable in the hotter days, which is most of the year. And there's a fair amount of police activity here and speed traps, so I'm pretty cautious about exceeding the limit. To the left is a place called Fairchild Tropical Botanical Gardens, and it's just a whole bunch of native trees and shrubs to South Florida. It's a pretty place.